For those of you that have been here before, welcome back. I am Mike, this is Two Car Garage, and yeah, I've been gone for a little while. Did plenty of work on the Honda while I was taking my little hiatus. I ended up redoing all the brakes, rebuilt all the calipers, did wheel bearings in the rear, did some suspension work in the front, ended up doing timing chains with a VTEC cam gear actuator. So if you guys got a 2.4 that has a rattle when it's cold, this is your culprit. But today we are going to work on getting the Kenwood doubled in this Honda because, to be honest with you, I need my Apple CarPlay. So every time you go ahead and move a radio from one vehicle to another, you got this harness that gets a little bit shorter. This is getting a little bit short, but it's not to a point where it's unusable. I did, however, went ahead and bought myself one of these guys, which is an RP-HD11, because this will give you integration as far as steering wheel controls for the Honda, and will go ahead and retain the ability to adjust the factory clock. I ended up finding one of these things on the old eBay, and obviously it is a pre-owned harness, and looks a little rough right now, but give me a minute, and I will get it looking a little nicer. A little bit of solvent, like an electronics cleaner or brake clean, and a rag will clean up that old tape residue pretty quickly. For the majority of the radios that are out there, all you really got to do is just match colors. When you're installing something a little fancier like this Kenwood, you'll have camera inputs and reverse wire inputs and speed sense inputs, so you got to be careful to know what wire goes where. Always check your wiring diagram. For example, the harness on this had a speed sense of purple-white, and on the harness from Kenwood, the reverse input was purple-white, so you don't want to match those together. So she's ready to go. We're going to go ahead and put this back in the vehicle. I ended up tagging another ground and constant and ignition source. I'll explain why when I get back in the vehicle. But got my relay in for my turn on when I put the amp in, and I'm going to have to modify this harness when I go ahead and install the amp. But right now, we're going to get this thing working. Honda engineers made this pretty simple when they designed the dash of a 2013 CRV. Some plastic pry tools, a handful of Phillips screws, and quite a few different clips make quick work of getting this dashboard torn down. Most newer cars nowadays have a lot more clips holding everything together than screws. 90% of this Honda's dash can be removed with a Phillips screwdriver, and honestly just a couple good tugs in the right places. So I got the dash torn down, and I plugged the factory radio back in to show you guys. If anybody doesn't know, Honda CRVs, your backup camera is up here. And when you add an aftermarket radio to the vehicle, you can go ahead and get some adapters to take the wiring from that and bring it down here. And then you'd almost have it in both spots. That would honestly drive me absolutely insane. So let me show you guys what I did here. I found myself a little wiring diagram on the interweb, and I went ahead and found my reverse signal in here, power to the camera, and I basically broke these wires in half and put some connectors on here so I can connect and disconnect. Essentially, I'm going to take away the reverse signal so this screen does not know when the vehicle's in reverse, and actually take the power to the rear view camera and give it its own power source, so it'll be on whenever I need it to, and I'll show you why I'm going to do that in a minute. The other thing I did is I found the two video signal leads, wired it into an RCA jack, so I could plug it into the back of my Kenwood radio. Okay, as we are progressing, the GPS antenna is up underneath the dash somewhere in that area here. Got the wiring for that, ran right down here. All this is reassembled. My video signal right here, probably could have made that a little longer, but we'll worry about that later. There's the power for my existing camera. The other thing I did is right there is where the Bluetooth module is, and you know, you have connectors for your steering wheel controls. It is a yellow wire in this connector. There's also wires for the microphone, the factory microphone, up in the center or overhead console. But I'll be honest with you, works god awful. Tried a couple different ways with it, and it's awful. So I'm going to be running my own microphone. Got my new PAC harness, along with the new power source for the backup camera. Even got USB ran into the glove box, so I can have thumb drive full of music. I bought a kit from Scosche. There is the part number, and I've always liked the way Scosche kits fit. Metro is a great company, but sometimes the finish on Scosche kits just matches better, and these guys fit a little bit better. Factory hazard button got to be moved over. 2 screws, no big deal, and everything is ready to go. So let's put this thing in the car. So everything's plugged in and ready to go. And before I go ahead and start closing up this whole section of the dash, I got to figure out what the next step is with my microphone. But here, what I wanted to show you guys is what I was talking about. Typically, with the changing the aftermarket radio, you can't adjust the clock. Now I can adjust the clock. If we come over here, let's hit agree. We go ahead and put the vehicle in reverse. Nothing happens up there, but now we've got a backup camera on the screen. So it works a little bit better. It would have drove me absolutely crazy if I had a backup camera up here, or if this just went blank and we had video signal down here. It would have drove me absolutely insane. So let's see. Does the... Okay. Wait. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, heck yeah. There you go. Steering wheel controls work. And cell phone buttons work too. I gotta pair my phone up. Cool. Done. Let's get the let's figure out what we're doing with a mic, and we'll get this done. Ladies and gentlemen, it is all back together. And as you can see here, I got an aftermarket radio in this guy, and I can adjust the clock. So let's do that real fast while I'm in here. It is 12:09. Hit set. There we go. Menu, exit. Done. 12:09. No compass, but, I got one here. Anyway, for those of you that are wondering why I ran a secondary power source for my factory camera, let me tell you. This particular display, once you put the vehicle in reverse, the reverse signal sends a signal to the camera to turn on. So if I didn't run a new power source, this wouldn't work the way I wanted it to, and you'd get a video signal in both sides or a black screen up top, and we weren't having that. The other reason is with this Kenwood radio, if you push the camera button, you could actually turn on the camera without the vehicle being in reverse. If you didn't have the power source hooked up the way I've got it hooked up, that wouldn't work either. Tried like hell to utilize the factory microphone up here, and unfortunately just didn't work. Lots of interference. I don't know if it has anything to do with my LED headlights or what, but it was just horrible interference. So I utilized my old standby, and that is for any of you old car phone guys like me, Nokia Carc 91 Bluetooth mic, which works amazing. It's been in a handful of cars of mine. So guys, before I close out today's video, I want to go ahead and give you guys an idea of what I was thinking. Went ahead and started laying out where I want the sub and how I want everything going, and I designed some stuff on SketchUp, so I'll show you that here in a second. The other thing too is, if you guys remember, I was going to utilize this ADS 8-inch 308 RS, which I still may use because I absolutely love this sub and it's old school car audio. Now, I found this guy. This is a JBL. What is this thing? It's a Stage 810, and it was brand new in the box. Found it on Facebook Marketplace, and to be honest with you, you could do a tiny vented enclosure. I typically don't do vented enclosures. Never really like the way they sound, but I don't know. Maybe an option. What do you guys think? What sub would you rather see in this thing? As promised, I wanted to go ahead and kind of show you guys what I'm thinking with the Honda. So I designed this with Google SketchUp, and I got a nice little window in here, got some kind of shapes and designs, and it's going to follow itself around the wheel wells in it. And then the other thing is I wanted to grab my my 22-degree chamfer bit and run it all along here so I can soften up some of these edges. The other thing that I wanted to do is I was kind of experimenting with some different textures, and you know, so basically I was going to have maybe some carpet around here, maybe some vinyl on the inside, and then this back here right up top along here, basically make that out of some plexi and maybe paint it so to have, you know, some contrast with some different materials, which will have the logo or the PPI amp right in there, maybe some lighting behind there as well. So just kind of a cool, fun idea. And we're going to start building that thing real soon here, as soon as I get my fab table done. And then as far as the sub goes, I kind of played around with the sub, and if I can get SketchUp to work. Doing the 8-inch woofer, maybe doing some angles. I'm not 100% sure if I like this, but I got this swooping arch to go around the wheel well, and then do some stuff to match the amp rack. I don't know. Kind of played with it. Kind of like it. Hopefully you guys do too. Let me know what you guys think. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Next time, I will have the fab table ready to go, and we're going to go ahead and start building all that stuff that I showed you on SketchUp. Till next time, thank you. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and we'll see you next time.